Well, this afternoon, in front of an audience of thousands of people on the South Lawn at the White House, President Joe Biden signed the Respect for Marriage Act into law. It passed with support from both Democrats and Republicans, and it is in place to protect same-sex and interracial marriage at the federal level, in case the Supreme Court decisions protecting those rights for whatever reason get overturned. The action taken today means all states recognize same-sex and interracial marriage. It does not mean all states have to issue marriage licenses to queer couples, but that it must recognize a same-sex marriage performed in any state where it is legal. Minnesota is one of those states after it went to voters a decade ago. And tonight, Carla checked back in with a family who was a big part of that when it happened. Hi, Carla.
Hi there, Jana. I first talked with Bruce Aussie in his Red Wing home in October 2012. And I'll never forget the Norwegian grandfather's words when sharing his insights. 10 years later, I sat down with Bruce again to talk about today and the journey to reach this moment.
Back in Red Wing, we begin with the words remembered for their gravity.
We were forced to make a choice. We had to choose between our church and our child, and we chose our child.
What do you think when you look back at those words and the conviction and courage it took for you to say them?
I still remember a quote by Martin Luther King saying that the real ultimate tragedy is not the pain that's inflicted by people who are ill-informed or bad. It's the silence.
Now a 78-year-old Norwegian grandfather, Bruce Aussie could hardly be accused of staying silent. For decades, he's been motivated by both MLK and love for family. His daughter, Angie.
We're very proud of him.
And his brother, John.
He was living at a time when it was very difficult to be out. He was a school teacher in Buffalo, well respected. He thought if people knew he was gay, much less when he was diagnosed with AIDS, that he'd lose his job.
And while family inspired his advocacy inspired change. Bruce remembers well the beginning of Minnesota marriage equality in 2013.
Seeing all the people, I don't know how many hundreds, out there, it was probably one of the most memorable days of my life, to see what took place.
And progress, Bruce says, kept taking place. Today, Angie and her wife, Cassidy, are raising their now 13-year-old son, Harry. And today, the president signed the Respect to Marriage Act into law.
It's wonderful that we've come this far.
But even now, Bruce still sees what he calls a mixed bag.
There are still a lot of people out there who don't feel comfortable coming out, particularly in rural areas, even in rural areas of Minnesota.
Bruce, who's been married to his bride, Kathy, for 58 years, still doesn't shy from weighing in on any lingering division.
This might be kind of brash, but I would say if you don't believe in a same-sex union, don't have one.
And as for those words from 1 decade ago, Bruce remains grateful for the truth of his choice.
Instead of our family at church, we inherited a family of parents who were wanting to support their kids.
What again has motivated you all of these years, Bruce, to say yes to speaking out and to say yes to standing up?
Because it's the right thing to do.
Bruce says his brother John lived in silence until he died of AIDS in 1994 at only 43 years old. But Bruce kept fighting for John and Angie and so many others, and he did not fight alone. The Aussie family found a community in Red Wing who advocated together and even recently wrote Coming Out Together, a book about their efforts. We will have more information on that book and other details on our website, KARE11.com. And Janet, Bruce believes change began with people sharing their story, just as he shared his family's story. And honestly, just as you have also shared your story, which has been really meaningful to our greater community.
Well, Bruce has been a tireless advocate and ally, and we thank him. Without the work of someone like Bruce and people just like him all over the country, my marriage doesn't happen. So I'm very grateful to Bruce.